mixer. This is my Sir Mix-a-Lot. Anyway, I made a cheesecake before. That was kind of like an old-fashioned. Oh yeah, preheat your oven to 350. Anyway, so I made like an old-fashioned cheesecake, and this is more of a classic cheesecake. I used to make these by the hundreds, I think, and I hadn't made it in a while, but there's something to be said about just this wonderful mixture, and you're just gonna really fall in love with it. So first thing we do though is we have to make the crust. Now there's a lot of debate about that, but I do prefer graham cracker crust, which is really simple. So you can buy graham crackers, put them in a plastic bag, beat them with a rolling pin or whatever, or just roll them out in a plastic bag. Just make sure there's an opening in the Ziploc end or whatever so the air can get out. But nowadays, you know, you can just buy them already crumbled up. And because I don't use graham crackers for anything else, this is really the simplest thing to do. And they do a really great job of making it a very fine mixture. Alright, so 1.5 cups is going to go in my big mixing bowl. So don't get concerned. I know baking, we got to be a little more careful about our portions. We measure things. And like I've showed you before, you can always take the back of your knife and kind of scrape that down if you're not sure. I will tell you that normally if I were making something, I would be, oh, there's a cup, so if I fill it halfway, it's a cup and a half. Because good measuring cups don't have a taper to them, so you can eyeball half and it's half. If it's got a taper to it, it's much harder to figure out. But, because I want to be a little more careful this time, I love these because they have all the odd sets or sizes. And then I want the half. And just, like I said, I just take a little extra trying to make sure I get what I need in here. Alright. Got that everywhere. So, I really want to, what a mess. So what I need to do now is I need to get a little bit more sugar in here, okay? We need a little sweet. So all I need is 3 tablespoons of sugar. So once again, just take your big old bag. I should have cut the sides down so this would be easier. There we go. I got 1. I got 2. I got 3. Good combination. And then the step that everyone seems to forget, except for moi, is I want a little bit of cinnamon in the Cinnamon's a great flavor, and it's really going to help the crust. And I just want a half a teaspoon. Don't get too crazy. Don't want it to ruin the taste of the cheesecake. Okay, now I'm showing this to you kind of in the purest form, but I will also tell you that when I'm trying to be cool and exciting or whatever, a little cocoa powder really kind of brings up this crust a little bit. And I've been known to get crazy like that, but just showing the basics for now. And remember, this is just dry ingredients, so I just want to give it, you know, once, twice around. that's it, right? So now what do I have to do? Oh, I have 1/3 of a cup of melted butter. So I'm just going to put a little bit around various, and I'm going to lift it up, just give it a little beat. So I can get all the rest of that out. I just have to lower the bowl. And I just want to completely mix it. So, so I'm just going to take the beater, just kind of work around to make sure it's nice and crummy. Make sure we get it all off, because guess what? We really need about every ounce of this. So, what I gotta do now, I'm gonna take a pretty good spatula here. I really just want to make sure everything's combined. And you could have done this by hand like this instead of using the mixer. You just have to be very diligent and do this till like your arm falls off. So I prefer to start with the mixer. Just really look for that whole crumb thing. Now this is a good example of, I'm going to sneeze from the cinnamon, is you want the right consistency right here, right up front. If you'd put too much of the graham cracker crumb in here, or not enough butter, or too much butter, just modify it so that it really does give you, and you can see it's going to pack. See, I can pack it right in there. Okay. Never enough room on the counter. So, what do you make a cheesecake in? Your oven. Yeah. So I got this actually newer spring pan because mine were all getting rusty. So I've used this the last few times. Unfortunately, this is kind of a unitasker. I don't know what to tell you, no way around it. So all I want to do, just get this all in here. And when we start mushing this, you're going to see that you really do need just about every inch of this. So there's no way around it. You're just going to start. And what I like to do is just get the base done first. Okay? And I got it. So the edges aren't going to be 90 degree, right? It's going to be kind of like smooth, because if you push it in, it's going to crack right there. So I'm really going to just get the base and let my fingers push the crust to the side. And this is not going to be very thick, because You want all about the cheesecake. And then I'm going to start really focusing on the edge. And when you do so, sometimes it crumbles. So what you want to do, now you're going to just kind of go around. Just work your fingers around. And if this is perfect, it's going to stay really nice. If there's not enough butter, this is where you're really going to see, because it's just going to be crummy. It's not going to stay in place. And just want to eyeball it, because I don't want any sides really high. And I wish I could tip this up. I'm going to a little bit to show you. But I really only got it less than halfway up the edges. And some places aren't quite as high. That's perfectly fine. Now, I'll tell you my last very important trick is, as I dry my hands, you want to be really gentle with this, because we're going to blind bake it. Now I said that at work yesterday, and everyone's looking at me like I'm stupid. They're like, what's that? I said, well, there's no filling in it. So you're really setting the crust so that nothing's going to kind of soak into it. If we were making a pie crust, like for a key lime pie or something, that's not a good example because it's graham cracker. Anything that would use like a regular crust, like flour crust, sometimes you'd have to put beads in it to keep the weight down so you don't get a whole bunch of air bubbles underneath. But you just want, for this particular thing, about 10 minutes. You're not trying to cook it, you're just really trying to let it kind of set. And you want to be very gentle with it. Spring pans are usually a little more delicate, so that if you throw it around or grab it from the bottom, you might totally crack this up. And if you do, well, my advice would be, if it's for the family, it doesn't matter. But if you're trying to impress somebody, I would probably throw in the garbage and start over. But it really isn't that hard, really isn't that bad. And I'm going to put this in the oven 10 minutes. Then you want to let it cool completely. When you come back, I'm going to have a cooled graham cracker crust, and we're going to put together the cheesecake. I'll see you back. All right. I will just show you gently. The crust is complete. It's perfect. Wonderful. It is completely cooled, which is what I want. So now let's start with the filling, the cheese part of the cheesecake. So I've got 4 blocks of cream cheese. That's 2 pounds, okay? So this has got a lot of creamy cheese to it. And I just want to start getting it mixed. This is at room temperature. I've had it out a little less than room temperature. Alright, so I just want to make sure that I've got it mixed so all the blocks are kind of chilled out now. Alright, so what I need to add? I need to add a cup of sugar. Oh, sugar, do. Normally, I would just pour it into the measuring cup, but I got a super big bag, so I shorted it about a tablespoon because I couldn't get it all out. So that was my tablespoon in there. Now, I'm just going to start this, and we're just going to slowly let this all mix together, okay? So I'll shorten this up and I'll take the sound out, don't worry. So that's what we call creaming the sugar, you know, together. So now we have a good consistency. Oven's back at 350, by the way, because I did turn it off while it was cooling. Got a clean beater. Everything looks good. So now, let's get into the flavoring of it, and then we're just going to beat it. And while I'm letting it beat, now I'm just going to stop the video, or edit it down. So let's flavor. I need a tablespoon of vanilla. I love the smell. That bottle's about empty. All right, now this is the part you can't tell anybody. I need half a teaspoon. The secret ingredient. Nutmeg. Just want a little bit in here. I like this way this really kind of wakes up the vanilla. You'll never see that anywhere, any recipe, okay? Let's give it a try. Beautiful. All right. Last part. I need 4 eggs. Now, if you're not a big fan of cracking eggs or not sure, do it in a bowl and then, put them in. Hopefully, I'm not going to make any mistakes. 1. And if you're doing this with like a regular mixer, like a hand mixer or whatever, I would advise put an egg in, give it a little whip, put another one in. But I really don't want to over mix this, so I'm going to put all 4 in. Okay. Stuff on me. Make a mess. I just realized I had the mixing stuff on my knuckles. All right, here we go. Now, this is the fun part. So what I'm going to do to better demonstrate, pop this off, because what I want to do is I want to get the cream cheese off the edge. Because we don't want lumps of cream cheese. I do make a beater bar for this that is like a rubber spatula. Tempted to buy it many times, and I just forget until I need it. Alright, so now we got the sides all cleaned up. Now we just want to do that, scrape down through the bottom. Because I don't want to beat the mixture to death. So we really need to just kind of get this mixed up. Because I don't put this together, throw it in the oven, and then magically take out one that's already made 10 seconds later, like some people do on TV. Make sure my spatula is nice and clean, because when we scrape it out, we want this not to have a whole bunch of loose cream cheese on it. All right, so set that there. Back in here we go. Lift, and here we go for just about 10 seconds. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, let's wipe this off, take this out. Make some room. Once again, I'm just going to take this. Ah, yes. Another lovely 100-degree day here in Florida. I cherish them so much. Just kidding. Now, if you've ever been scared Googling recipes about making cheesecake and having them crack, well, that just takes good practice, good sense. Now, people use water baths, I know. That does control, the temperature, and it makes a moist environment, but I really find that it isn't necessary, and I just think that, you know, this isn't something you're going to make to impress for the first time, and once you've made a couple of them, you'll know. Just kind of be nervous now, it's just like we all were the first time we make something weird or a little more complicated, but it's really not complicated. Alright, once again, just want to search for anything. I think the consistency is perfect, very smooth. Yeah. So what do? Two things. One, we don't want our spring pan to leak. We don't want overflow. We don't want anything. Whenever I cook pies, cakes, or anything, I usually do either put them directly on a sheet pan or put a sheet pan in the rack right below. So here's my crust, and here we go, right in the middle. And we're going to go right above the crust line. It'll be absolutely fine. Now, I know you people love doing fun things that they see on TV, but I will tell you that crust is kind of delicate, so I'm not going to pound my spatula on it. I'm not going to drop it to make it settle out, because guess what? It's going to do it all on its own. I'm going to kind of push careful. So what do I got now? Got to put it in the oven, 350, 1 hour. Gonna take it out, and we're gonna let it cool. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna let it cool a little bit before I come back to you, just so it's not boiling hot. But I'm gonna get this in the oven 1 hour and let it cool a few minutes, and then I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do. I'll be back. Howdy, partners. All right, so classic mistake. I wasn't paying attention. I did crack it, so I got it right out of the oven to show you, and it's still really hot. But we want to not let it congeal because it's kind of jiggly from being just cooked. And I actually let it run about 10 minutes over, so it got a little browner than I wanted. If I had gotten it on time, it would have been fine. But it still tastes just as good, so don't let that scare you. So what I want to do is I just want to check it to make sure we're not, when I don't want to hit the crust, I just want to make sure, and I don't think it's going to stick at all. It feels really loose. And if it's really bad, I'll be deleting this video and you'll never see it to know. Alright, let's just see here. Pretty confident. Pretty confident. Sad thing is, this is like world class, tastes great, just doesn't look great. So I know this is really toasty, but I want to see if I can't. So this cheesecake, actually, it's really hot. Excuse me, but it's really freaking hot. It's beautiful if you don't look at the top. Everything else is perfect. We got a beautiful crust. And like I said, this will taste absolutely fabulous. You do need to let it cool. I'm going to let it finish cooling here. And then once you get to the point where you can touch it, and if you're, I always hate saying that because, you know, some people have asbestos fingers and they pick up things that are flaming hot, but, you know, normal, like what you wouldn't want your kid to touch, it's getting there on the edge. The bottom, I'm sure, is hot. I did have it on a rack for a little bit, and I probably need to put it back on there because it is a little too hot. But we need to let it cool down, and you got to get it in the fridge for at least 4 hours to really congeal it, really set it before you can cut into it. When you do cut into it, you can use just a regular knife, like a butter knife kind of thing. And if you don't want to make it look messy, you know, you can either wet the knife or wipe the knife before you make each cut. But like I said, this is going to be one of those things that I made that's going to taste really good and not look as pretty. But hey, I'm human. If I were making this for some extravaganza or for somebody else, or if I was making it for money, I would have been a little more conscientious. But I really like the end result of how it's going to taste more than how it looks. Because half this food, close your eyes and you'd be like, you'd think you were in heaven, okay? So I'm going to get this back on the cooling rack, and obviously I can't cut into it for at least 4 hours, but if I'm smart and think about it, I will take another picture. But I just think that I wanted you to show that yes, I am human, and sometimes life gets in the way. I was actually cleaning my rabbit's ears. Henry got some extra wax in his ears, so I wasn't paying attention. But anyway, have a great day. My stomach's growling looking at this because it is going to taste really good. And I will see you with another video. And maybe down the road I'll practice a few more times and make it again so I can show you what a perfect one looks like. But I will tell you that this tastes so good you don't need to put anything on. That's what I was going to say. If you really need to decorate it, I don't care what you use. Whipped cream, you could use, you know, the thing with fruit is you want fresh fruit, so maybe slice up some fresh strawberries. You don't want like frozen thaw that are real wet. You don't want to add anything that's going to change the consistency to it. Actually, if I hadn't put nutmeg in, I was almost thinking to myself, what would happen if you really did some thin slices of avocado on it? That might taste okay. Avocado's pretty darn good. But the way it is, I think I would stick with some veggies. And you know, cherries would be really great, but you know, you got to pit them because once again, I'd use fresh. Bananas, thin sliced bananas would be good. So, you ponder it. Look at my cracked up mess, and I'll see you next time with another great video. Thank you.